I did a post recently on the TikToks about this little candle ritual that I've done for years. I kind of tidied it up, which I have all of y'all to thank for because I just sort of ramshackled this thing. So if you're interested in that, you can go over and see it. And in fact, I'm going to do a post there in just a minute if you want to be included with the candle on occasion. But someone over there asked me, and I cannot find their comment to save my life, if I had any other kind of little ritual type things I do. And I don't really think of them necessarily, like I don't label them a ritual, but I guess that's what you'd call it. Um, I did develop one. 2010 was a horrible year for me. That was a year that my then husband went in hospice suddenly and died. And our business went away like in a poof, and I had a house to support, and I had two 15-year-old kids in my house, and it was just a really stressful time, and I didn't know if I was going to come through it or not. I don't have a lot of family support here near. We live in Washington State, and most of my extended family is in Texas and scattered throughout the rest of the country, so it's just kind of just me. But I got through it. But one of the things that I started doing out of desperation when my husband was in the hospice care center, I was holding on, like white knuckling my way through, as you can imagine. I mean, it was terrible. Social workers and stuff are there, but you know, you kind of have to take the tools they give you, but you have to use the tools. You know, they can't do this stuff for you, but they can give you the tools to maybe get an idea. So that's what I was trying to do. And I went into the little back area restroom that was attached to my husband's room, and I really just was having a breakdown. It was like a bad, it was just bad. Like you go through waves, and anybody that's been through something like this similar understands. Like there's times when it's like, okay, we could do this, and there's other times when it's like, I can't. I'm dying right along with him. And it was like that, and I was like, what am I going to do? Because I couldn't fall apart because I had those two kids at home that I had to nurture my way through. So I just stood there and I looked in the mirror and I was like sort of just asking for spirit guides or angels or anybody that could help me, anything that could help me to help me. And I did sort of a calming coping mechanism that I have done throughout my life, which is I tell myself that no matter what, time moves on. Like we can do what we want, we can do artificial constructs, we can do whatever, and even though I know that technically time is an overlay that man put on stuff to be able to organize the thought about it, but this thing that we call time passes. Whether or not we're doing anything in it, we can't stop it. And there's some comfort in that because I have mentioned before that I do know that as human animals, one thing that we have super going for us is that we are highly adaptable to making the best of what we have been handed to us. And there's story after story of remarkable survival from people doing just that, from using the resources and tools that they have available to them and either surviving or even thriving in just unimaginable circumstances. So I knew that, and while I was standing there looking in the mirror, I really looked at my own eyes and I tried to envision myself 10 years from that moment, which ironically would be right now. And I got a very, very clear picture of who I was going to be and what I was going to be doing. I'm not talking about all the way through, but like looking at my face in the mirror, I could see the face of my future self. And I begged that person in the mirror to reassure me that I would be able to come out and go through the other side. And I don't know if I got a whole bunch of comfort from it in that moment, but I moved past whatever that moment was and was able to carry on. And then throughout the accompanying days after my husband's death, I found myself doing that more and more, looking at my future self in the mirror and then asking myself, my future self, please, please walk next to me and let me know that I'm going to be able to do this and come through the other side and be happy, because I was envisioning myself happy. So as time went on, This sounds so crazy. I mean, now I'll probably re-listen to this and go, "Oh my God." But as time went on and I had this practice, I also realized that if I was forward thinking that way, that maybe I could backward think to myself as I was as a child and remember the last time I was truly carefree and happy as a child without being worried. I've always been an anxious person. And that was probably when I was like 5 and 6 years old, but I could remember being joyous in the moment and not being so worried. So I would go back and I would I wouldn't look at myself in the mirror, but I would remember myself as I was then and just sort of pretend to hold my hand and ask that little kid to help me. And then I got to where I would also think about moments in my young life when I really could have used somebody in my corner. And I wasn't real good at asking for help, so this isn't the fault of anybody. I was very lonely as a child and caretake myself, not so great at times. But I kind of think that where I am now, I can look back at that child in those moments of deficit and be able to parent myself. I kind of think time is a sliding thing. And I kind of think the person that we are all simultaneously. You know what I mean? Like from the time you're a child to the time you pass from this life, I kind of think that's all one thing. So in my head, at least, I think that we're able to repair things that happened in the past. We can parent ourselves and fill in those gaps a little bit. And we're able to ask our future self to come in and fill in some gaps for us that we're experiencing now. Maybe things that we don't know that we need. Maybe our future selves and say, hey, you need to go do that. Now listen, I know all of this sounds pretty dopey. And I know maybe some of you, if you've hung out this long, are like, well, this woman is nuts. And I might be. But I'm going to put this all out here because you may have ways of organizing thoughts in your head along these lines that make more sense to you. But all of this boils down to the fact that I think you have all the tools internally to take care of yourself and to do better for yourself and to be your own friend and be your own caretaker and be successful at it. And I think that aspect of this, no matter what form that you're going to take, getting there, or just the trying to reinforce the knowledge that you are enough to take care of yourself, you yourself are enough, I think is the key message in all of this. So this has been weird. Is there any kind of note we can end on here? Probably not. Oh, here, Good Fortune Kitty can wave us out. Wave us out, Good Fortune Kitty. There we go.